Hello! So, you may notice that this is my video for April, and it's also going to look the same as my video for May, because I just didn't have time last month. I was doing finals, and it was just kind of impossible for me to give an update. I kept a list of all the movies and TV shows I watched, but I didn't really have time to film this video. So I'm filming April and May at the same time. The first thing I watched in April was Venom. It's hard to give like a thumbs up or thumbs down for Venom because it's like, was it entertaining? Yeah. Was it good? No, obviously not, but that's not how I rank. I thumbs up or thumbs down based on like, kind of like if I would recommend it to someone. So I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. My boyfriend forced me to watch it. He likes it in like an ironic way. It was fun, but I wouldn't watch it again. I am interested in watching the second one though, so do with that what you will. Then I showed my boyfriend Mozart La Rock. I've seen it a billion times. You can watch the whole musical on YouTube. It's a French rock opera about Mozart. It's not like particularly fantastic in like a objective sense, but it's really fun, and it's one that I go back to a lot, so thumbs up. And yeah, it's also a great way to practice French if you speak French. Then we watched A Little Princess. I hadn't watched it since I was a kid, but I grew up watching it. I actually didn't know, I think it's directed by Alfonso Cuarón, which is like crazy. And it also won Oscars and stuff, which I didn't know that growing up. I just thought it was like just a stupid kids movie, but it's really, really good. So I understand like why it did. It gets the atmosphere so well. It's actually genuinely a really good movie. Thumbs up. I suggest watching it even if you're an adult. I think it's really cute. And you know, it's an adaptation of a classic novel, so you know, always good to familiarize yourself if you don't have time to like actually read the novels. Good adaptations are a great way to do that. Then Jackson made me watch RoboCop. Thumbs up. It was very like, it reminded me of like good episodes of Black Mirror in that it was dystopian in a way that felt believable and also gave me like a pit of existential dread in my stomach. Just something about like being trapped in a, you know, technological body that like RoboCop and Black Mirror do really like fucks me up. I don't like it. That being said, it's really good. There were things I would have changed. I think RoboCop is technically a better movie, but I think that Total Recall I enjoyed more. Then Jackson and I went to the theater and saw Morbius. It was like first movie I've seen in theaters in a while. There was like one other person in the theater. We sat in the back, you know, COVID obviously. But yeah, Morbius sweep. I'm glad I didn't film this last month, because the internet just trolled Sony. And that, I wouldn't have known that was going to happen. And Morbius bombed again. Let's just keep doing it. But, like, to other movies. And so, you know, it'll be too obvious if we just keep doing it to Morbius. But, yeah, we should do it to every Jared Leto movie. That's what he deserves. Just make them all flop. But, like, keep tricking them. But yeah, thumbs down to Morbius. It fucking sucked. It honestly, I think that people are over exaggerating how bad it is though, to be honest, just because of how like cringy kind of like the idea and Jared Leto and some of like the CGI is and stuff. But I think that the movie as a whole is just insanely bland. It's like if an AI made a movie. So it has no real heart. It's boring. It's just, like, stupid. It's seriously if you just, like, boil down the essence of movies. And so for that reason, it's really bad. But honestly, I think, like, the original Suicide Squad is technically a worse movie. But yeah, it's definitely like in the worst 10 movies I've probably ever seen. Um, yeah, just because it's so nothing. It's offensively nothing. Then I watched Breaking Dawn Part 2. I don't even feel like I should do a thumbs up, thumbs down for this, but I will. I'm gonna say thumbs down. I'm literally wearing a Cullen baseball shirt right now. I'm a huge Twilight fan. I have like, I don't know, probably like 100 merchandise items. I have a giant Twilight collection. I'm a huge Twilight fan. I run a Twilight fan account. Like, by the way, at by.4 if you're interested. But I don't like Breaking Dawn Part 2. I think that is by far the worst movie in the franchise. It's fucking too long. It's boring. There are aspects of it I like. I like the end fight scene. I feel like that was a way to have an interesting fight scene for a movie audience while still keeping it canonically the same in that, like, no one dies. I think that was a smart way to do it. Spoiler, but guys, it's been 10 years. I'm not giving a spoiler alert for Breaking Dawn Part 2. But I just don't like it. It's not good. It's really not. And I don't know what happened, because Breaking Dawn Part 1 is the same director, and I feel like Breaking Dawn Part 1 doesn't feel like the rest of the franchise tone-wise, but at least it's like it's an interesting movie. He takes like subject matter that isn't typically that interesting, like a wedding, a honeymoon. Like, that's not thrilling necessarily, but it's actually like good. I feel like the song choices are good. I feel like it's competent. Whereas Breaking Dawn Part 2 is not competent. And that's a problem. Then I finally saw Luca. Luca was good. It was cute. Thumbs up. I didn't feel like it was good as Encanto. However, I feel like Encanto has stuff going for it, like the fact that it's a musical. I feel like that, can make a movie seem more, like, impactful. Especially, like, an animated movie. I feel like that's always kind of a bonus. But, yeah, I liked it, but I felt like it needed more. I felt like the pacing was almost too good, in that I never got to really sit in anything because it was going so fast. And that's interesting because the story itself is not, like, complicated, and there's, like, not a lot happening, so you would think that there would be more, like, scenes where they're just, like, sitting. But I just didn't feel like I was attached enough to the characters. Then I saw Shutter Island. I fucking hated it. I hated it. I'm gonna be real. I hated it. I know that there's, like, this big thing where people love Shutter Island. Shutter Island's, like, this big deal. Thumbs down. I did not like it. I'm so tired of DID being portrayed poorly in, like, film and stuff. It's so tired. And the thing is that I feel like there is a way to do it in a way that is, like, unique. I don't really like Split, but I do think that James McAvoy, the way that he is so dynamic of an actor that it makes it enjoyable, and his character is, like, literally not human. Like, he goes beyond. He isn't just a guy with DID. Like, that is not inherently what is dangerous. And so that kind of gets a pass. Not entirely, but it's a little bit of something. And then, spoiler alert, kind of, not really, for Identity, which I've talked about vaguely. But Identity does it in a way that, until the second ending, which I don't like, I feel like it did it in a way that was actually, like, special. Shutter Island it's one of those movies that it's shot really well, don't get me wrong, and I feel like the acting's good, but it's one of those movies that thinks that being confusing is deep. An example of a movie that kind of has the same tone but in a good way is Swiss Army Man, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, and it is like artsy and like weird, but in a way that is actually meaningful. Um, whereas Shutter Island is just, it's like it's trying so hard, um, and it's so transparent in its attempts to be a cult classic that it just like did nothing for me. Um, then I watched the new West Side Story. I thought that it was really good. I liked Act 2 10 billion times more than Act 1. I felt like Act 1 was very, like, very basic except for the cinematography, which was really good. I don't like Ansel Elgort for obvious essay reasons. And I honestly, putting those aside, I didn't feel like he was right for the part. He was so incredibly bland. I don't see how anyone could fall for him. And it was just so, like, you're gonna get in like a dangerous Romeo and Juliet situation for this guy? Like, really? There wasn't, like, literally, if I didn't know anything about him, if I was just going in, say he was like an actor I'd never heard of before, I just don't think he was right for the role. And his voice was fine, but there's nothing really spectacular. That being said, I felt like everyone else did really good, and I did cry. Act 2 got me. I did cry. So, that's good. Thumbs up overall. Again, cinematography, really good. But there seemed to be like something missing the entire time for me. Then I watched X. Overall, thumbs up. I honestly... Okay, spoilers for X for the next, like, minute or so. I felt like having the old people be creepy and dangerous was a major fault of the movie. It was predictable, and I thought that they were going to turn that on its head by having it be like these old people are just like a little eclectic and weird, but they're not necessarily like bad people. They just like want, they're like kind of like overly Christian, and they don't, want people filming pornos on their property, and I think that it would have actually been good if they just turned out to be like regular people, and the real danger was, just like the property itself, like, the alligator, stuff like that, and just kind of like the situation in general. Like, I felt like it would have been a lot more interesting if there was, I don't know, there was just something really off about the movie. I found certain scenes to be extremely enjoyable, and all the acting was really good, and I really liked the cinematography. There was a lot to like about it, but I just don't think it was for me. So yeah, overall thumbs up, but I don't know if I'd watch it more than like once more. Then I watched What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. This is my first time watching the movie, even though the show is my favorite TV show, so that's kind of weird. I've seen the show a billion times, but this is my first time watching the movie, and I really liked it. I felt like I feel like the show is like significantly better, but that being said, I still really enjoyed the movie. I'm not as attached to the movie characters as I am the show characters, which I feel like is a big fault. I also didn't feel like they had really harnessed the right tone yet. But that one scene, I'm gonna try not to spoil anything, but the like spaghetti scene, that whole sequence of events is so well done. The directing there is so phenomenal. Shout out Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi, killing it there. And yeah, that whole sequence, I will literally go back and watch that on YouTube. And I feel like, honestly, I mean, there are a billion scenes that are very funny. If I had to like it naturally is going to be compared in my mind to the show because they're obviously linked. And so, for that reason, I am comparing it to the show, but it obviously is like overall thumbs up, great. One of the best movies on this list by far, so I would watch that. If Beale Street Could Talk, thumbs up, definitely. I felt like it was a good adaptation, but I honestly feel like no adaptation is ever going to be great just because the source material is so good. And when you get a source material that's like so solid, it's difficult to really fully capture everything, because I feel like a big portion of what makes If Beale Street Could Talk, the book, so good is kind of like what the individual person is imagining in their mind and the way that they are hearing the dialogue in their mind. And so obviously when someone else is speaking those lines, it's never gonna be quite the same. And so, for that reason, I think that it's good, but I honestly think it's probably the best movie adaptation we're ever going to get of the novel, but I just don't think that anything's going to be that spectacular. Then I watched A Simple Wish. Thumbs down. This movie is such a mess. What the fuck is this movie? Granted, it's a kid's movie. I get it. It's got the girl from Matilda in it. Love her. Where did she go? Why is she not in movies anymore? She was a queen. But I just, it's not even worth watching. It's not even like fun, in like a shitty kind of way. Okay, now on to the shows. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 2. Girl, oh my god, it's such a good reality show. I can't wait for season 3. It's so drama filled. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but thumbs up, please watch it. It's so ridiculous. Bridgerton season 1. I hated it. Thumbs down. I fucking hated it. I hated it. It had no consistent tone. It couldn't tell if it wanted to be like serious or cheesy. The cinematography is the most boring, stationary shit I've ever seen in my life. Literally some of the worst cinematography I've ever seen. I didn't feel like the acting was particularly great. The costumes were really lackluster for like a period piece. And also, you can't have the main character commit and then have me like rooting for her. Like, that's not gonna happen. And it just kind of like soured me on her character in general. So every single time she showed up, spoiler, every single time she showed up in season 2, I was like, get out of here. Like, you want us to forget? Fuck off. Then The Dropout. This is based off of Elizabeth Holmes and the whole, like, I don't want to give anything away. I know it's even real life events, and so it's like, if you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. I would watch it. It's really good. Amanda Seyfried does an incredible job imitating Elizabeth Holmes. It's just a really good thing. It's on Hulu, and I felt like it was done in an interesting and respectful way. And so yeah, I'd watch that. I watched an episode of Impractical Jokers with the one with Eric Andre. I skipped a lot of it, mostly just because I wanted to just watch the parts with Eric Andre. I know a lot of people like this show. I just didn't find it that funny. There was one bit at the end that I thought was funny just because it was like, it skewed expectations. But I don't know. I'm just, overall, thumbs down. I haven't seen enough episodes to really definitively say anything, but from what I've seen, it's just not for me. Then The Girl from Plainville, thumbs down. I watched this as it was coming out. This has, Elle Fanning in it, and Elle Fanning is spectacular. She's spectacular and everything. All the acting's really good in the show, and there are a few scenes that are good. But overall, I just didn't feel like this was done in a particularly respectful way, and it felt like there was so much missing. This is another, like, dramatic reenactment of real-life events, like true crime show on Hulu. And so, I had high expectations after watching The Dropout. But it didn't feel finished in any way, shape, or form. Then I watched The Great seasons 1 and 2, and I fucking loved it. It's not historically accurate whatsoever, so if that bothers you, then don't watch it. But it doesn't claim to be historically accurate whatsoever. It's about Catherine the Great. Oh yeah, thumbs up, obviously. And it's also played by Elle Fanning, and Elle Fanning is a fucking firecracker on screen. I need to see her in everything in the world from now on. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it is so insane and so, like, over the top, and I never know what's coming, and I love that. And I love, like, the way that every actor plays every character, and all the acting is spectacular, and I fall in love with every character, and it's so ridiculously fun. Then I watched Dickinson episode 1 because I know that it's, like, coming to a close, and I was like, well, let me see if I can get into this, because Emily Dickinson is, like, one of my favorite poets. And I was like, I heard that they're actually, representing the fact that she was gay, which is great, because she was, and that isn't talked about enough. I just couldn't get into it. I just felt like the tone was weird, and it just was, like, from what I saw, it was just, like, stuff that I felt like has already been done a billion times with, like, Little Women adaptations and Jane Austen adaptations, and I don't know, it felt, like, hollow. It had, like, all the good makings of things, but in a way that was very hollow. Then I watched Midnight Mass. Thumbs up. Really fucking good. I don't want to say anything about the show because I want everyone to go into it kind of blind like I did and just experience it for yourself, but watch it. There's one scene, I don't want to spoil anything. There's one scene, it's in a boat. So when you come across that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Or if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. There's one scene in a boat, and it gave me the feeling that one scene in Hereditary, everyone knows what I'm talking about, did, and I haven't felt that since watching Hereditary for the first time, back in, like, 2018 or so. And so that was really nice to feel that feeling again. It's a horrible feeling, but it's a very satisfying feeling in, like, horror/thrillers and stuff. And I loved it. Severance, overall, thumbs up. Acting is great. The music in it slaps so hard. But I just wasn't as thrilled as everyone else I've talked to about this. And I feel like a big part of that is the fact that I watched Black Mirror before. And I think that Severance does a better job than Black Mirror. But the problem is the concept that they're using has already been explored in various Black Mirror episodes. And so a big hook, I think, of the show is riding on you being kind of, like, shocked by this technology and, like, the implications of it. And so if you've already seen Black Mirror and explored that, you're kind of going in needing more than the show provides. That being said, I will be watching season 2. Then I watched Our Flag Means Death for the first time, and I don't even want to, I can't even, 10,000 billion thumbs up. I've seen it, like, 4 times since then. Yeah, exactly 4 times. I watched it 4 times all the way through since then. And it is, like, my second favorite show. I'm obsessed with it. I'm super, super far in the fandom. Waiting for the renewal, to get a season 2 was, like, driving me crazy. And then they pulled it out on Pride Month, and I was like, y'all cheeky bastards. Fuck y'all. And I loved it. And I love every single cast member. They're all wonderful. I love that it's, like, a big family. I think that the fandom is, like, incredibly wholesome. I think that everyone is so involved in a way that's really special and something I haven't seen in a show in a really fucking long time. And it's also just really good. And it is, it's very special to me, because I think that, you know, like, as a queer person, I'd gotten so used to just, like, accepting the table scraps that shows give us in regards to, like, queer characters, and how they'll be like, yeah, well, they're in a relationship, but it you know, it's so incredibly deep, it goes beyond, like, kissing, and so you'll never see them, like, say I love you on screen or kiss or anything. And it's like, I think I'd gotten really used to that, and so I stopped regarding it so much as queer baiting, because it was kind of all we were given. And then to be given a show where, like, all the main couples are queer and actually are, not just, like, are coded to be, but truly are, is incredibly special and deeply meaningful, and has changed my outlook on a lot of things. And that being said, if Good Omens season 2, because Neil Gaiman has already confirmed that Aziraphale and Crowley are gay, and I'm not even a big Good Omens fan, I just watched Good Omens, I'm actually going to get to that, but they're very obviously gay coded in the first season. And Neil Gaiman already said that in the book they're not in a relationship, but in the show they are. And season 2 will be coming out sometime soon, like within the next year or so. And if they don't, it doesn't even have to be like a physical thing, but if there is no real definitive, no one can interpret this any other way, definer of the relationship, I'm not watching. I'm not watching the show. I'm giving it a bad rating. I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, you know, being thrown scraps, you know. Tired of J.K. Rowling being like, oh yeah, well, these characters were actually gay, and these, like, Dean and Seamus were in a relationship the entire time. And it's like, then why didn't you put anything in there? I'm fucking tired of queerbaiting. I am, and I'm tired of settling for it and thinking that it's okay. And so that's that. Then I watched The Ultimatum. I couldn't finish it. I started it, thumbs down. It's like torture porn. It is sadness porn. I can't do it. I thought it would be, like, fun, drama filled, like, these people are crazy and they're trashy, and, like, you know, like Love Island, stuff like that, where they're, like, kind of doing, like, weird cheating stuff, and it's, like, fun and no one takes it too seriously. This is like watching people ruin their lives. It is legitimately horrible, and I hate it, and I couldn't get through it. Old Enough, thumbs up. This show is so cute. It's this Japanese show that each episode ranges from, like, 5 to, like, 25 minutes, and it's about little kids from the ages of, like, 2 to 5 running errands for their parents, and it's the cutest thing, and it's so sweet, and everyone should watch it, and it's just so wonderful. Then I watched Pose, the final season, and I am left with a big hole of nothing. It was fine. I enjoyed it. It was so obviously rushed. They're like, we have to wrap up every plot line, so we're just gonna say that this shit happened and not show it and not expand on anything. And it was like, they fit what needed to be like 3 more seasons into 1 season, and it was a huge detriment. I honestly feel like they should have just left a lot of things on cliffhangers where we can just kind of presume what happened. Because the way that they had to rush everything just made each episode be like, did I skip an episode? Like, that's what it felt like. I constantly was like, did I skip an episode on accident? Spoiler alert, no, I didn't. They're just rushing. And so the pacing was horrible, and I didn't feel like any of the acting was spectacular either. I didn't cry. I didn't, like, they didn't have any of the emotional weight of any of the other seasons. And so that fucking sucked. And that concludes, on that happy note, that concludes April. So yeah, I will be posting May very soon, if not the same day. Just go ahead and get it out. So if you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like or a comment. If you hated it, go ahead and leave a dislike or a comment. You know, that's fine too. And I hope you guys watch my May video because I have many more thoughts.